is warning its death toll will likely rise as more details are learned about those affected by last week's record-breaking heat wave. Its public health agency estimates that more than 1,000 additional deaths were linked to the scorching temperatures that took place from Wednesday to Friday last week.
Half of all Americans are bracing for a prolonged and dangerous heat wave, and it could peak at the start of the July 4th holiday. Sorry, guys. Right when many of us will be outside for parades and barbecues, the temperatures in some places in the eastern U.S. could be the hottest in over a decade. CNN meteorologist Derek Van Dam here with the very latest. The National Weather Service is telling us that this heat wave is different and to pay attention and be warned. What can we expect?
It's because of the humidity. The humidity is going to be off the charts, and that makes it so much harder for your body to regulate the heat and cool itself down properly. 50 million Americans or more will experience triple-digit temperatures this week leading into the 4th of July holiday weekend. Terrible timing, Mother Nature. Why do we have to do it now, right? All of us want to be outdoors. Here's a look at what Chicago looked like at sunset last night. I like to see people doing their activities late at night because, of course, that helps minimize the amount of sun exposure you get. But this is how warm it could feel today in the Windy City. 104 degrees, both Indianapolis and Chicago in the triple digits for the heat index. We're talking lower 90s along the East Coast, but that's going to go up. Let me show you why. Look at the heat alerts. We've got 70 million Americans under alerts at the moment. These include warnings. So excessive heat warnings. St. Louis to Chicago into Grand Rapids, my home city. But look what's headed into the weekend. That is a large density of population, some of the largest density in the country, right along that I-95 corridor that's going to be trapped under this heat dome. High pressure, depending on its exact position, can stream in the high humidity levels, and that is going to make it feel oppressive, downright dangerous. Pay attention to this graphic, because this is important from NOAA. That shading of purple, see how that shifts from the Ohio River Valley, eventually making its way into the mid-Atlantic by Friday and Saturday, coinciding with the 4th of July. That's extreme heat risk. That means all populations are vulnerable to a long exposure in the sun outdoors. So you factor in the humidity, the high dew point levels, and this is what your body is going to be battling this week. And when we talk about temperatures skyrocketing to above 110, that is when you need to take it seriously, hydrate, find air conditioning if you can, and take prolonged breaks from the sunshine as you plan your outdoor activities for the big 250 birthday celebrations this weekend. By the way, Sarah, I want to show you this. DC, we should be 89. By Saturday, the 4th of July, that's 101 degrees. That's the actual air temperature. This could go down as the hottest 4th of July ever recorded in DC's history.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. All right. This video be entitled, okay, heat waves in Europe, India, and to be in the U.S. July the 4th. Okay, pestilence of the sun. Okay, signs and pestilence of the sun. However, I'll put in the the topic, the title, right? Okay, and basically this is in the news. Okay, a news and prophecy video, as in the news that heat waves in Europe, okay, in India and to be in the US, warnings of high heat, to be coming in the holiday and whatnot. As you see, I'd play a clip, a shorts of Europe, basically, with those fire trucks, water trucks and whatnot, spraying down the people. The sun is very humid and hot, okay, and the perspective, we watching this on is prophecy of the signs and times, okay. The scriptures tell us that these things were to happen, all right, and the sun is a tool, an instrument of the Lord used to show, things to come, all right, signs. Okay, it's not in vain. And funny enough, they having it on July, the 4th, the heat wave, okay, where basically a day of celebration for the US. Okay, as you see with Trump with the UFC, the 250th anniversary. Okay, with a celebration of America, Babylon the Great, which isn't to turn out good. Okay, of I think July the 4th is Independence Day. Okay, and America's fate, it isn't going well. It's crashing, it's going down. Okay, as the 250th year mark, okay, marks it marks Slovakia, ending of empires. Okay, and it also means to a divine judgment. Okay, and this is what's to come on America, Babylon the Great, with the final plague, okay, being them nuclear missiles, right? I'm just read this little description here. Half of all Americans are facing prolonged, dangerously hot temperatures from an intense heat dome as they head outdoors to celebrate the country's 250th Independence Day. The temperatures in some spots in the eastern U.S. You know, so about 3 days to the fourth day of July as we in this month, and this is what we had. I think from since June the 21st. Okay, it had in Europe and whatnot, countries in Europe with France and whatnot. Okay, heat. Okay, humidity. Okay, see, Lord is definitely giving out a sign at the times. Okay, as we had in this year with the uh earthquakes in Venezuela. Okay, floods and thing, different stuff. Seeing. All right, so it's definitely an indicator, a pointer, effect of prophecy happening. All right, so this is what I type up on Google: heat waves in Europe, India, and the US on the 4th of July. It said deadly record-breaking heat waves are impacting the northern hemisphere, and the US facing potentially its hottest July the 4th. And if you kind of watch that, it's like a preview of those missiles, hitting this place. The Lord just hitting out signs. I'm just saying. All right. Okay, we know the final plague, the final destruction of America is that nuclear missiles fired at heat. All right. It says on record for the East Coast following a string of extreme record-shattering heat domes and hundreds of heat-related facilities across Europe and persistent scorching seasonal temperatures throughout India. Right. Just give you some points of the different countries. Okay, the United States, the situation nearly 150 million 150 million Americans across the Midwest and East Coast are under heat alerts as a heat dome brings dangerously high, humid, and triple-digit temperatures. The 4th of July forecast. So this weekend, is a not good weekend. And again, it's prophecy. The days are hastening, even as the many Lord are talking, and it's coming to pass. All right. I have this picture just to show. All right, it's like here. Basically, this it was from okay GM will hopefully leg 3. Okay, subscribe to be edified. Basically post this on this channel. Okay, they happy they weekend is not a good weekend. It's not a good future for America, Babylon the Great. All right, and he had in the post he had bring Isaiah 13 verses 19, talking about the nuclear fire, how it's the land of America, all right, soonly to be is going to be wasteland, destroyed. Okay, so it's not no good month of the year, so like here. Okay, so yeah, say New York, Philadelphia. Okay, now Europe. Now the situation Western Europe endured a pair of early summer heat waves with temperatures frequently soaring past 40 Fahrenheit and 38 Celsius and moving eastward. impact, the WHO, World Health Organization, has estimated well over 1,300 excess deaths, because they're so hot. And as you see in the short clip what played, right? Okay, including around 1,000 in France alone. So again, this is the beginning of sorrows to come. All right, prophecy is taking a toll as this intense humid heat affects countries often unequipped with widespread air conditioning. It's hot, damn hot over there. All of this heating up these countries, these people. All right, India, the situation India has routinely experienced is typical punishing summer climate with peak temperatures regularly regularly surpassing 45 Celsius, 113 Fahrenheit across various regions. Right, impact while locals and infrastructure are more acclimated to this scale of extreme temperatures, severe heat stress remains an ongoing public health concern the for day laborers and outdoor workers during the pre-monsoon and early summer season. So while this heat wave was happening too, also in Europe, schools had to close. The day was hot. It was on fire. All right, so so this is where we are. All right, this is the time, the signs of the times, okay, and the plagues to come. All right, okay. Slack here. What's this type of something come on my mind? Also want to come back, and so we know to the I want to type of this. Let's see quick. Could the heat of the sun, slack here, be considered okay a plague, slack here, plague birth here, slack here, birth plague, okay. While a plague is historically defined as an infectious disease, extreme heat and sun is widely regarded as deadly. Plague-like hazards, heat waves, can devastate large populations, stressing infrastructure and claiming more lives globally than any other weather event. And this is what the Lord can tell you: pestilence is coming on the earth, which is a sign of him to come, Yahweh Shai, our Lord and Savior. So the vision is making haste. Okay, and the sun is something to is as a tool of the Lord. Okay, as I said. All right. So first, let me just get this. So like this is this is Genesis 1. All right, creation of the earth and of the heavens, right? And read like verses let's see, 14. All right. And power said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years." Okay. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and it was so. Okay. And it goes into the two great lights. The lesser light, the great light, the sun. Okay, and the lesser light, the moon. Okay, which is tools for the Lord. The sun being a tool of death, judgment. Also for the signs of the times. Okay, so we understand the Lord is doing these things for a reason. Okay, for a sign for us, to call out, to be vigilant, to see that, he's here. All right, you know. Okay, also for the moon this year, this too, it had a blood moon and whatnot. Okay, so this is the effects of the beginning of sorrows coming. All right, and first, I'm just bring this. This is Sirach chapter 43 and verses 1. Right, the pride of the height, the clear firmament, the heaven, the Shemayim in the Hebrew, heavenly waters, the firmament, the sky. Okay, the beauty of heaven with his glorious show. The sun when it appeareth declaring at his rising, a marvelous instrument, the work of the Most High. At noon it parcheth this country. Okay, because it's so hot. All right, and who can abide the burning heat thereof? No one. So it's a plague, is a tool, an instrument of the Lord. Okay, showing that he's close. Okay, verse 4 says, a man blowing, so every creation, the Lord too, let me just say this, has a purpose, meaning. All right, verse 4 says, you know, a man blowing a furnace is in his work of heat. Slacky, let me read that over. It says, a man blowing a furnace is in works of heat, right? Like if you're pounding out a sword, like in the forge or something like that, that heat. But the sun burneth the mountains 3 times more, breathing out fiery vapors and sending forth bright beams. It dimmeth the eyes. Great is the Lord that made it, and at his command it runneth hastily. So we know that, even if, well, I don't know if Esau could be doing this. Okay, we know it's the Lord who doing this, causing that sun to be heated. All right, Esau has this technology with the harp machine, manipulate weather and whatnot. Okay, but the Lord is doing this. Okay, he created that man. He's doing this to show forth that, prophecy is in effect. He's coming. All right, and then it goes on for the moon. All right, and different things. All right. Okay, of a declaration of times, feasts, high holy days. I use the moon, for the Sabbath. All right, so this is what it is. The moon is at the Lord's command. All right, and the Lord is using it in this time here, to show forth prophecy. Okay, so let me just get this. This is Matthew 24 and verses 7. Right? Okay, it says, for the nation. I'll read from verses 7. Let me see. Verses 6, right? And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. All these things are coming on the earth, Okay, it's inch by inch, to the final, the end, right? Verse 7, it says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences, okay, and earthquakes in diverse places. And we see in that in this year with Venezuela and whatnot, and now the pestilence, right? With the sun, okay, killing, two of the Lord for judgment, all right, causing mass deaths, all right. This is the word in the Greek.
Strong's G 3061. Loimas.
Okay, root word etymology of uncertain affinity. So look up that. Okay, a natural liking for an understanding of someone or something. Okay, so we understand that is the Lord who's doing this. All right, the Lord is causing this. All right, pestilence, a pestilence, fellow pest, plague. All right, and this is a plague, a death. Okay, of uncertain affinity, again, a plague, literally, But we certain of it. All right, we certain that the Lord is causing this thing. Okay, He created it. He causing it for a sign for us. All right, literally the disease of figuratively a pestilence. Okay, so you can understand this is the things that Yahushua said, of his coming, for these things before his coming, right? It says all these are the beginning of sorrows. Okay, and this is what's taking place on the earth. Okay, so this is a sign of the end. Uh, this is Luke chapter 21 and verses 25, the return of the Mashiach Yahushai. And there shall be signs in the sun. Okay, signs in the sun. The Lord uses the sun as his instrument, his tool, also for death. Okay, that heat wave, is a sign for us of the end. And in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, the stress of nations, all these things we are seeing, all right, and perplexity. Okay, Jake, people of the world, they perplex and they have no faith, or no they established in faith, because why they saw he done made them to heed to their own lust, which not benefiting them. Okay, and they wouldn't return to Yahweh. Okay, but we understand why all these things are happening. It says, because I watched a video from the elder in GMS Inquirer early too, or this guy is on basically getting on saying nobody coming to save you. Well, he don't understand that all these things have to come on the earth in order for Yahweh Shai, who is coming to save, at the end of the day, really his elect, to find faith on the earth. So, so we understand these things, all right? The sea and the waves roaring. Okay? Men's hearts feeling them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Okay, these are banking families, Rothschilds, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory, the final, end, the finale. All right, Yahweh Shai. So this is a sign and a pestilence, a plague to show that. Okay, I understand. All right. This is Second Ezra chapter 14, 15, Slaki, and verses 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. Now, just reading this, okay, to get later down, more down is the point, but this is to show you that the things we are seeing are correct, coming to pass. And those who, and take heed, or insensible enough to take heed, to fear the Lord, will be destroyed, all right? Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Okay, fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity, the unbelief of them trouble thee, that speak against thee. Okay, for all the unfaithful shall die in the unfaithfulness. Also, what this time coming, because they have no faith and they don't believe what the prophets are saying, thinking these mad men, they're gonna die of these coming plagues and tribulations of the earth. Verse 5, it says, Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Starting with Esau, Edom. His reign is too much. And now's the time he reaches bounds. And cause Jake to go off. So now this kingdom is going down. Verse 7, it says, Therefore saith the Lord, Yahweh, I will hold my tongue, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And this will be the elect, sighing and crying, Slakia, Ezekiel 9 verses 4, right? Okay, I'm jumping down to verses 11, all right? Okay, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. So you can see this is a future prophecy, all right, which is now, and Egypt being America, Babylon the Great. Okay, so this is what the Lord is having to take place on the earth. Verse 12, it says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that power shall bring upon it. And they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with a fearful constellation. This is what's taking part, of the youth, dehydration, all these things, drought. Okay, really hastening to the deed, of destruction. Okay, there's missiles. All right, so this is definitely a sign of the end. Okay, that Yahushua is almost back. The kingdom to come is close. All right, Second Ezra 16 and verses 37. All right, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. And this is what taking place, pains, the pains are prophecy. This is a part of the birth pains that the heat wave, right? Okay, more to come, Jacob's trouble, all these things, till the child cometh forth, Yahushua, in atmosphere. Okay, for the slack, coming in those chariots, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and the sorrows shall come upon it on every side. All right, beginning of sorrow, so they're not slack in a moment. The day is hastening. So it's to watch, to pray, because we almost here. The end is here. This man's place is going down. Okay, Esau Edom. Okay, so just a shout out. A watch, show you that the end is almost here. Okay, all right. The celebration of the wicked, is not looking good. All right, this place is going down. Okay, so all right. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakodash, double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone Rural Well, peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, Wa Abad Babal and Shalom.